Wow. Never felt that.
We call the study session meeting to order at 6 p.m. We're going to get started with new business. Jay with S&J Environmental, he's going to give a report on what's been going on with our water system, our wells, and answer any questions the council might have.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you a real quick overview. So currently right now, you guys, I'm sure are very well aware, you have 3 wells in the system. And out of those 3 wells, you currently have 1 that is operational, and that is well number 5. Well 4 went down for electrical issues. Obviously, the motor had to be replaced due to some issues with the electrical, burned up the motor. Patterson well drilling out of Oregon came in and was able to replace the motor. As soon as they did the test startup, there was some additional wiring that instantly started melted, so they instantly shut everything down. Right now, what you have is there's some sort of issue electrically at well number 4. And going off, speaking with GNO's engineers, this issue has probably been going on for a while. My understanding is that at some point in the past, you had to bring in a portable generator run directly to run the well. And then the motor itself, based on the records that I've seen, was replaced a little over 2 to 3 years ago. Before we put that motor and that well back in service, we got to find out what actually is the issue. And then obviously well number 6 is, again, there's a VFD issue there, something electrical. I believe that you do have some proposals that GNO has prepared for you folks to vote on tonight and see what the issue is to get that up and running. And well number 3, I don't know exactly the whole history behind well number 3, but I know it's not operational, and I think it has to do with water quality. And then well number 5, which is your current well, it is up and operating. It's running roughly 24 hours a day. Unfortunately, you guys only had 1 chlorination point in the system, and that was well number 4. And that's why you guys are on a precautionary boil order right now. We did get well number 5. We did do a temporary tap, got that completed. We are feeding chlorine in the system today. I will be up there tomorrow morning and working with Lorenzo on pulling samples throughout the system, see what the residuals are. If everything looks good, I will be pulling back T-tests and getting them to the lab ASAP so we can get that precautionary boil order lifted. The Washington Department of Ecology knows exactly what's taking place. We are keeping in touch with Andy, which is your permit manager for your facilities. Other than that, it's just your Lorenzo he's willing to learn. Unfortunately, he's been there a couple of years. He just doesn't have the experience for the system. And from a maintenance perspective, I can tell you this much: well number 5 is your main well feeding your system. And I asked Lorenzo when's the last time the oil has been changed in the motor. I was told that he's been there roughly 2 years and he doesn't think it's ever been changed. So I know you guys are going to be taking a look at Ziptility. Ziptility is, and we'll probably get more into that as that subject comes, but we need to get you guys up and running and get you a PM. But right now, PM or computerized maintenance management system, so you can do all your preventive work orders and things of that nature. But right now, we are just putting out fires after fire after fire, trying to stay ahead of the game and make sure that we are providing water for your residents. There is a lot of work that needs to be done on your system, but it's nothing that we can't get corrected and get your system up and running correctly. I mean, that's a real quick overview. You're just truly running your water system right now is running on a razor's edge. My biggest concern is if well 5 goes down, that's going to really put you guys in a pickle. And by that, I mean, we'll have to get with GNO and see what the issues is with well number 3. And that may be the backup source. But again, my understanding is the water quality coming out of well number 3 isn't the best. So, I mean, that's just a real quick overview. I wish I was there in person, but I had other commitments tonight. But please feel free to ask any questions. I'll do my best to answer them.
Any questions?
Jay, what's the time frame on this as far as well number 4?
The time frame is we've waiting to hear back from Eaton, which is a vendor. They'll have to fly in from out of state. I did speak with Jamin about getting Taurus, who was the original contractor on the installation. Taurus is located out of Vancouver, Washington, and if I would like to get them over here as soon as possible, but I don't know if they can troubleshoot the system. And Jamin and GNO is trying to get a hold of Taurus and verifying if they can come over and give us a hand or do some troubleshooting for us. But as of right now, just waiting for GNO and waiting for Eaton, which is the VFDI manufacturer, to pick a date or give us a schedule on when they can come out.
Yeah.
Hey Jay, so I'm here as well.
Oh, okay.
Hey, so we have a quote from Eaton. So essentially what happened was the motor failed in your well 4, right? And so they replaced that. When they turned it back on, a capacitor popped in some of the electrical equipment. So what's going on here isn't just isolated the motor. There's something in the electrical, and we don't know which end is the tail and which end is the dog, right? And so if you don't check everything out, you might replace the tail and then it just breaks again. And so the good news is when that capacitor popped, then the brand new well pump is still fine. That didn't damage it. However, there's a VFD there as well that needs to be checked out. Say, okay, in worst case scenario, they could replacing the capacitor tomorrow. They could do it, turn it on. Maybe it would work. But if there is something else going on, that could just damage everything, and then you're waiting to replace everything again. And so what we've done, as Jay said, is we got a quote from Eaton. Then they're the manufacturer of the VFD to come and do the diagnostic tests on it and see okay, is there something else going wrong? And that was around $5,000. They provided it. I provided to the mayor and staff. That's one option. They told us it'd be 2 to 3 weeks. That was their official schedule before they could be here. But once you approve it, they'll tell you they'll actually be here. You have to sort of say we're in, and then they said you might be able to expedite it. They know it's an emergency, so they might be able to do it sooner, but they won't commit to a time frame until they get it approved. So as Jay requested, we also reached out to Taurus. We're waiting to hear back from them to see if they can do anything faster. Given the urgency of this, we would recommend some sort of council action to authorize the mayor to pick whichever one can be faster, to approve the Eaton scope, something so that the decision can be made and they can move forward one or the other. At this point, if we don't hear from Taurus in a day or two, maybe better just to approve the Eaton scope and get in line with them so that they're here sooner. So what you don't want to do is just be sitting around waiting to see who's fastest, and you waste a week, right? We week into the 2 to 3 week time frame anyway. And so that was the scope we had from it was 5,158 for them to do the troubleshooting, just again to make sure they look at everything there so that was the motor failing? Well, was that the tail of the dog? Was that the cause, or was that a symptom of an issue? And so they look at it a little bit holistically to try to tell you what was wrong or if there's anything else that needs to be fixed. The well pump there also had some corrosion. So the motor was replaced. This well motor was replaced 4 years ago. At the time, the pump had some heavy corrosion and getting cavitation symptoms. And so this time, that replaced the pump and the motor. Then the pump has some damage, not as much as it did. It had been in service longer last time, but it has some damage. Something where if you didn't need it, they would say, "Hey, let's take some time and let's fix this." But since you need this well, they're going to try to get it going again. But they're also going to give you guys a quote. And this was in talking to Jay. They're going to get you a quote for a new pump so that you can potentially have that ordered. Pump lead times, it takes a little longer to get a new pump than a new motor. So you can have that ordered, have it ready, so that if you do have an issue with the pump, you have a pump on the shelf to put in the hole. And you're not stuck waiting a few months or longer to get a pump that meets your specs for that well. So that's kind of where we're at with the quotes. And again, definitely recommend some sort of council action tonight to either approve the Eaton scope or authorize the mayor to pick. To approve one or the other based on time frame, something so that we can get that process started and the chip line and get something going. We have the, like I said, we have the request into Taurus. We haven't heard back yet, but as soon as we get something, we'll be sending you guys that. You know, in case that's an option for a little faster approach.
And when they get back to you, are they gonna give you a breakdown?
Yeah, they give us a scope.
Just like Eaton did right here?
I mean, well, here's the thing, we're not sure if Taurus does this. Taurus is not a manufacturer, they're a rep, so they might say, you know, we sell the things, we don't fix them, call Eaton. Right, but we're like checking to see if they have their own techs, or if we need to, the normal procedure would be to work with Eaton. In order to try other alternatives to see if we get something faster, we're calling them, or we're problems. And so if they can do it, they would potentially send us a scope proposal, or they'll tell us, call Eaton, go back to that. Where we're at.
Hey, James, this might be kind of a dumb question, but you can't hire a local electrician to come and check this out?
This is a higher level,
Yeah.
beyond like a local electrician. It's actually like, if VFD is its own electrical cabinet,
Mhm.
it's a specialized work. And so it's something where you want somebody who works on those, or somebody who manufactures those, to come and assess it. Your local electricians will probably not. When we're working at VFD, that's not their normal area of expertise, and so, either they wouldn't do it, or they would be reluctant to do it. No, it's a great question, though.
According to this quote right here.
Yeah.
Thing,
I don't know which one you have. You have the
The email.
5,158 one?
this is here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. According to this. Everything that's written in here should cover what needs to be done. I would assume according to what I've read.
For them to.
I mean,
come
they're,
and
they're
assess it,
they're looking at auxiliary contact, they're looking at switches, they're looking at switch relays, and.
Yeah.
They're looking at operating parameters, wiring connections. It sounds to me like they're gonna go through everything just to find tooth comb
That would be,
by the looks of this. But it's the time frame
yes,
that's hurting us right now.
right. And that's where they said 2 to 3 weeks. But they said, once you approve it, you give them the authorization, then they'll tell you, maybe they have an opening next week and they can get out there soon. And so, you know.
But then maybe they don't. And
maybe
it
they
could
don't.
be 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
It could be, and that's where we do, we'd be pressing the urgency of the situation, and it sounded like they understood this was an emergency and like, they would do what they could to expedite it. But, you know. They won't tell you when they'll be here until you approve it.
Yeah.
So that's why, again, definitely encourage the city to approve something, you know, at least let's get in line, right? Even if it's gonna be a few weeks, if that, we're not getting in line, then.
Do you have a rough estimate on what the pump and the motor would cost?
So I do, in fact, the exact estimate for the pump, for the motor, the new motor costs you 10,100, for the motor itself.
What do you think?
Plus install with a total of 35,240, for them to pull it, move the pump.
How much was that, 35,000?
35,240, and there was some unit prices, so if they took a little more time or less time, that would change the final cost. But that was their initial quote to pull it, to replace the pump and put it back. That's just the motor. The last time you replaced the pump, I think it was around 8 to 10 grand. For the pump, and so we're waiting on a proposal for that, but, you know, I would anticipate being around the same price. In the scale of well pumps, this is a smallish well pump. You know. So.
But wouldn't you recommend that if we're gonna do one, we'll do both of them? Since you're
well,
saying that one of them
yeah.
does have some corrosion and stuff?
Yeah, so yes, in
Yeah.
a perfect world, yes, that's what
Yes.
you wanna do. In an imperfect world, they could get essentially, this went down on a Wednesday or a Thursday. They were able to have a pump here by like a motor here by like the next Tuesday, right? Their time frame was by Friday, and within a few days they pulled it, they were here Monday or Tuesday next week. For a
Yeah.
pump. And pumps are not that easy for a motor, pumps are not that easy to get. So that was the thought, was let's get a motor, let's get it back in the hole. And corrosion isn't it's falling apart, it's just, yeah, there's some damage, it can be rest eventually. Let's get it back in the hole and try to get you guys water, while also working in the background to get another pump ordered. So that you have it on the shelf, so that you don't face, a 4 to 6 month lead time. I don't know, maybe it's not that, but even if it's a couple months, right? And so, in perfect world, yeah, let's replace gold. In perfect world, like, let's try to get you water, like, it still has life, let's try to get you water from that, middle of summer.
But that's what I'm saying. For right now, if we can get it up and running, just to get it up and running, to at least have some kind of a backup,
Yes, exactly.
then we go into the perfect world, and we end up getting
Yeah,
both of them,
absolutely. Yeah,
regardless of what the cost is.
yeah, the motor's in the hole.
We have it.
Yes.
It's still just the pump.
It's just the pump that they're gonna send it to, so that you can approve it, get it ordered and start it.
So from what you're saying to me, a lot of the cost of this is lack of maintenance. Because if those are supposed to be looked at on a periodic basis, whether it's once a year or every 6 months, and it hasn't been done in the past, whatever Lorenzo said, he's been here 2 years, he's never seen it done.
Yeah, that was the oil in 05.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, 4 is a little different, it's a submersible. So
But
it
that-
was last pulled from the hole 4 years ago, the city did some rehab on the well then. The maintenance for those is a little different because the motor is physically down in the hole, so they're not gonna change the oil on. 4 years is not a reasonable time to have our submersible pump in service. Something to do with your water thing, I mean, obviously, based on the history here, there's some unusual quirks with your water chemistry, right? Well 4 is an old well, there's some, iron bacteria growth in that well, there's some other things where, this is the reason the city was looking for other wells, is partly because well 4 is an old well, you weren't trying to invest money, but you need it short term. And so, was it a maintenance issue or was it a water chemistry old well issues? I'm not sure.
well, as far as the
Yeah.
maintenance,
Good question.
as far as the maintenance issue, that's gotta be mandatory. I mean, there's no way around it. You gotta maintain these pumps, on a regular basis, regardless of whether it's every 6 months, once a year, whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
They need to be maintained, because if not, eventually they're gonna go out.
Oh, yeah.
Everything has a lifespan, but the better you take care of them, the longer they're gonna last you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So right
Support
now,
the city and developing a.
Yeah.
robust meter.
so right now, well number 5, we're pumping chlorine into it manually.
I think it's an automatic system.
Yeah, right now it's set up manually. The reason being is the well or the chlorine pump is not tied in the well control, so it is we have it in manual mode, so just running it manually. Ideally, we'll get to eventually in the future we'll get it tied into the well controls where it's the chlorine pump starts and stops with the well motor. But right now, your water demand, obviously, that we're in peak season for water usage. That well right now is running 24/7. So we have the pump and everything set at our current feed rates. So we're good to go there. So I'm not too concerned about if the well turns off overnight, that will overchlorinate the water. That won't take place. So we'll just have to, on the weekends and stuff, we'll just got to make sure we keep an eye on it. But ideally, yeah, that chlorine pump needs to be tied into the well controls. And it really, truly, it's a temporary situation. You need to come in and put a proper chlorination system in for public safety and operator safety. But we have no other choice but to manually run that right now and make sure that we're chlorinating the water for the citizens of Mapleton. But as you know, you're talking about the maintenance program, things of that nature. Yeah, I mean, what we'll end up doing, we'll set you up a maintenance schedule. You got these very, very critical pieces of equipment that need to be maintained on a yearly basis, and that's thermal vibration testing on the equipment. This will get us out in front of the game, and we will be able to identify issues prior to them coming up. Right now, we've just been so busy trying to fight these fires that we haven't got that chance to start showing Lorenzo and start getting quotes for all those types of maintenance items. But trust me, if we get through these issues, we'll get you a preventive maintenance program implemented. That way, your equipment and your system is getting taken care of.
So right now, well number 4 has a chlorination system. Well number 5 doesn't. Is it's being pumped manually.
Yeah. So well number 5 is we had a plumber come in. We inserted a saddle and tap, brought over a chlorination pump, got 55 gallon drums delivered, and we're feeding from the 55 gallon drums into that line, which goes directly to your reservoir, then out to the distribution system. So the next item, the critical path in my opinion right now is obviously is well number 4. We need to get that up and running because you're down to one operational well right now. The second thing is getting the chlorination points that are in the system but aren't operating, get them up and running. And we've already got a plan and got quotes on getting that done. So after everything's said and done, you're going to be able to have 4 chlorination points as soon as we get all this completed. So that way, if well 4 goes down, we're not getting reactive or calling in precautionary boilers. We just switch to another chlorination point. And so we're getting some redundancy built in your system right now. It's just taking time to get it done. It's just been, like I said, it's just been one nightmare after another, but we're making progress. We're moving forward. The plan's implemented. We've got quotes. We just need to, I guess, approve some contracts, approve some vendors to come in and get these items done for us.
You see, that's what I was getting to as far as well number 5. If eventually we are going to put a chlorination system in there, that way we don't run into this problem again.
Absolutely. Yeah. You are 100% correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And I tell you, the very first day I was here, I came up and what took place is over the weekend, over a 3-day weekend, there was no chlorination being fed. We came in Monday morning. Lorenzo called me on my way up. He says, "Jay, we got an issue. We don't have no chlorine." I get up here and realize, the very first day, all right, where's your additional chlorination points? And he goes, "Oh, we only feed chlorine from well 4. And from then I knew we had to get these other chlorination points up and running. For is redundancy. There was no way we ended up getting it fixed, but we ended up dumping 1 million gallons onto the ground, flushing the system out because we didn't have the post chlorination or the additional system up and running. And we'll eventually get that for you folks.
To be clear, the well 4 system for chlorination was already the backup, right? So you're already operating on the backup because the main system went down.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when well 4 went out, now your main system and your backup were both out of commission. So like Jay said, right now what you have at well 5 isn't a long-term solution. You don't want chlorine equipment in the same room with all your electrical equipment. It's going to cause corrosion. And so if you want a long-term system, and I've City looked into this before. I put together a cost estimate when City considered this in the past. Ideally your chlorine equipment needs to be in a different, some exterior cabinet, something so you don't have, chlorine off gassing in the same room as your electrical equipment. And I put a cost estimate together a couple of years ago for the city for that. And so, initially right now, like Jay said, you're just trying to put some fires out and just get the system operating. Long term, if you want chlorination there'll be maybe a few other improvements you want where, adding chlorine is good, but if it makes your electrical equipment die sooner and wear out sooner, then that's bad. So getting it where it can be more robust, reliable.
And I think that's the route we have to go with, for the near future.
Sure.
We're not talking long term. We're hoping to get this the sooner the better.
Well, whatever you guys,
because
I talked to Jay quite a bit last month, or whatever you guys need from us to support that.
Jay, another question I have for you is since we're getting chlorination now, what are the residuals?
Again, we got chlorine delivered this afternoon, so it's still 0 out in the system. That's why I'll be up there tomorrow morning to pull residuals out in the system. So the way your system feeds is it feeds into a transmission line that feeds directly into the reservoir. From the reservoir, a gravity flows out to the distribution system. So right now we are just chlorinating the water going into the reservoir, so it still has to go through its contact time and everything else, and eventually get out to the distribution system. And so we're gonna pull residuals and everything tomorrow morning. With the chlorine was supposed to be delivered first thing this morning, but we didn't get everything up and running because the delivery was late until probably around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So it's still going through the reservoir right now, and eventually will work itself out to the system.
Okay, Jay, when you do pull the residuals, are you going to be pulling from both sides of town?
Absolutely, yeah. So under the precautionary boil order, what'll take place is I have to pull 3 samples throughout the community. So we'll pull one south of town and north of town. Oh, excuse me. There'll be 3 samples pulling, but 2 will come north or south. We haven't decided where we're going to be pulling those samples, but yes, they will be pulled out to get representative of the distribution system.
Okay, now those gonna be from the furthest point?
Well, you have sampling stations that are located near the furthest point out in the systems. Yes.
Okay,
So you have sampling stations located out through your distribution system. We will be pulling them from those sample stations that have been approved by the Washington Department of Health.
well, thank you very much, Jay. I know I like to ask a lot of questions. I know.
No, I love it. You know, I'm loving it.
Tired of it, but you know what? It's information that I think not only me, but everybody outside the public, would like to know as far as what's going on.
Yeah, you know, I got no problem. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. You know, if I can't get you the answers, I can, get you the answers if I don't know them. But feel free. I really truly like to see the council and the city involved. But yeah, we're just it's just right now. It's just we'll get things up and running. We'll get some redundancy built in the system. But I think what we need to do eventually is let us and SJE and the team members there in Mabton get ahead of the game. Let us get things up and running. Then I think we need to sit down and prioritize what we need for the system and start working off that list. Identify the major critical points and let's see what we can do to get those critical points corrected or up and running or redundancy in place of them. So
Yeah, that would be the main goal right there.
yeah,
Prioritize what needs to get done first and then go from there.
yeah, we had a plan. We were coming up the first day to implement that plan, but man, it's just been, I got to be honest with you, we just been fighting fires after fire after fire, and each day on the good note out of this is Lorenzo is learning quite a bit on this situation. He's picking things up, things that we're showing him. He's getting a better understanding of your system. And so on a positive note, even though we're struggling with the system, Lorenzo's picking things up. He's understanding what we're trying to accomplish.
I'll be the first one to say thank you, Jay, because I know you got a lot on your plate. I know you're doing the best that you possibly can with what you got. And not only that, but it sounds to me like you're being a good mentor to Lorenzo, and you know what? I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's a good kid. He's wanting to learn, and he's just. I know, like I told him, I said, man, just look where we're at today, and let's give it some time. Let's take a look at where we're at 3 months, 6 months, and a year out. And I promise you, if the council and the city leadership move forward with what we want to get planned, you'll really like working in. Your system itself is just we just got to bring it up to standards. That's all.
All right, Jay. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, sir.
Any more questions? No, I don't have any.
We will move on. Thank you, Jay, again. We will talk tomorrow. Okay, so we're gonna move on to discussing and possible authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Ziptility for customer communication, utility management, data integration, and related services. Jay, can you talk a little about your experience with Ziptility?
Oh, absolutely. So Ziptility is a company that we work with. The reason we work with Ziptility is we find that smaller communities don't need there's utility cloud, there's CityWorks, there's all kinds of web-based maintenance systems out there. But you start getting into those other systems, they start getting really expensive. We got hooked into Ziptility or got associated with Ziptility through one of our consultants. He introduced us to Tyler and his team. And so what this is a GIS based maintenance management program. I know you guys, I wasn't there during the demonstration, but what it is a computerized maintenance management system. It'll help us because right now you guys have no maintenance program whatsoever. There's no annual maintenance or anything being done. It's all kind of been reactive mode. What this will allow for you guys to do is we can build this system out. And let's say Lorenzo wins the lotto a year from now. This system will have the next operator that you guys hire come in, and everything will already be there for him. So all he'll have to do is take a look at the work order system and go out and complete those work orders. And then again, it's you can use it as a customer service thing too, because we're going to be GISing in or trembling in all the water meters, hydrants, and all that stuff. So you can use so anytime somebody comes in with a customer complaint, let's say a taster order, we can generate a work order from the customer service department, and that can get sent to Lorenzo, whoever is designated to. Then you guys can start tracking where your issues are out in the system through that. It generates reports. It's really truly there's a lot fancier systems out there, but we find that this one here is a lot more cost effective for smaller communities such as yourself. And you're not tied into it for long term. My suggestion to you is you guys go ahead and implement that 1 year agreement. You let us get a chance to get everything built out, and I'll come in and show you what we've done, because we'll be taking pictures of your pumps, your motors. We'll put in the horsepower, your lines will, it's 6 inch or whatever it is in the distribution system. You'll have all that at your fingertips through phones. Then if you guys are wondering if work orders or things are getting completed, all those items that you guys you can pull reports on each piece of equipment. It's really truly a cost-effective computerized maintenance management system for communities of your size. And again, you're not tied into it long term. If you like what it is, I suggested to our other clients is tie into to get a cost fix for 3 years. That way you can budget for it every year. But let us if you move forward with it, you'll see that we can get in there. We'll get it all built out for you, and go from there. I did talk with GNO on getting some shape files created. And Jamin, if you can touch a little bit on what needs to be done on that end, or we can go out and I got a Trimble unit. We can go out and Trimble all the hydrants and everything else and get it uploaded into the system. So it's all going to be GIS based. It's a pretty slick computerized maintenance management system at a reasonable cost.
So kind of 2 steps to that. First step is all of the maps that you store at the city's water mapping is in one program, AutoCAD. Use it for this and use it GIS. And so it will take a little time for a GIS tech to pull it over into the new system. And they spent one of our GIS techs took some time at it. It looked like the AutoCAD's in good shape where it should be a faster translation, but it would take time to convert it over into the different software mapping provide you guys for this. And then that's like where your water lines are, right? That doesn't include all the valve and all information. And that hasn't ever been collected. It's expensive to collect, send the survey to be collected, but Jay has an instrument that you do that would potentially be incorporated into that. So take all the lines where the water lines are, and you can go get more details and propagate that into your GIS map. More detailed map, right? Beyond the level of anytime you have better maps, it's always better, right? A lot of times mapping we're pulling based on historic records. What somebody else wrote down was there, plus any new projects. And so anytime you have a chance to add details to mapping, it can propagate forward. Yeah, I don't know if that was what you were thinking for there, but that's kind
of absolutely. Anytime
for you guys.
Yeah, anytime you let's say you do a line extension, anything like that, we can go out there and Trimble unit in and get the exact coordinates and upload it into the system. And eventually, if you guys decide you want to do something more with more expensive or has better features, You can download all the information that we will be creating in here can all get downloaded into the next system. So it's not like these guys own everything, and if you get rid of them, that all your information goes with them. That's not the case. You'll be able to download all the information and keep it for yourselves. And the customer support. I tell you, they got a great customer support center. And if there's any questions, issues, I mean, they're right there. They get back with you as soon as possible.
Question?
What happened to the mapping that I had here before?
So we've updated it, right? We've been updating it as, different projects. When we did the water system plan.
Well, the only two extensions that really happened is the ones out here on Beach Street and the ones over to the Flower House.
Yeah.
That's
There's
it,
also,
all the other ones,
The line that went south to the hot farms for
Yeah.
fires.
that was already there.
Yeah, well, but they replaced it, they upsized it. And then there were also, if you remember in 2016, there was like 13,000 feet of water main that was upsized. Same place, more valves, upsized lines, and so that's where, as we do other projects, as part of the water supply, plan, really was when it was done, was we took the last file and then you add anything new, right? So there weren't a ton of new things, but you wanna try to keep it as current as possible, and then, so that's there. When you have your current mapping, it's just for this particular software, we need it in a different mapping software
Yeah.
file, right?
Yeah, so-
Versus GIS. So does that answer your question? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going on a rabbit trail tonight.
I mean, the valves haven't changed, there's still
No.
the valve to the
No,
same place it's
Yeah.
going now.
yeah, the mapping we have doesn't necessarily have a lot of those valves on there, it may have some, may not have all of them, right? It has the
Yeah.
ones that we know where it's at, there may be others that weren't on that old mapping that, Jay could potentially add.
Yeah. So what this Trumbull unit does, you got to be honest. Me and Lorenzo were out looking for valves the other day, and based on the map that he had that was in his truck, the map showed the valve being on the other side of the street. Well, I was like, man, I guarantee. I'm looking at the water mains. It's on the south side of the street. So we ended up going, and you guys have a locator. We ended up getting a locator. We ended up finding the valves. But if it was totally not where the mapping was showing, and again, this is just, it's not exact on the maps that you guys have. But what we have is this Trumbull unit. We can stand on top of that valve, and it'll get within 18 inches. We ended up finding the valves, but we had to get the locator because they were buried under dirt and everything else. So if in the future, if you have these GIS in, and you can locate them through Ziptility by doing just by having to locate there on where they're at. So it's very accurate. So if the next guy comes in, he can go, hey, I know there's a valve here somewhere. He can get the locator, boom, it's right there. Or just like you said, we can walk on it with our phones and be within 18 to 24 inches of the valve. So the biggest thing right now is as we continue to progress, I know there's a ton of valves that are out there that are probably ended up buried that we're going to have to find and locate out. And it's going to take us a little time to get it built out. But just based on the map that Lorenzo has in his truck that he utilizes, it shows you in the rough area where everything's at, but it doesn't show you the exact location.
Okay.
And again, you're not tied to this thing. You guys sign a 1-year agreement. We get a chance to build it out for you. You get to see the end product. If you like it, great. You do an extension. If you don't like it, you don't think it's going to be for the community, then you just say, okay, Jay, we're not going to do this. Then you upload everything that we have and you can look at something else. But like I said, for a CMMS system and the stuff that we utilize, it's a pretty good deal for the price.
So give me the definition of GIF.
What's that?
Let me have the definition of that. GIF or GIF, whatever it is, GIF.
GIS. Yeah, it's Jamin, why don't you go ahead and tell them what that is?
I think it's graphic imaging system, it's grown out of essentially a software created to have a lot of data, manage a lot of data, and so a lot of current mapping, the websites for like assessor's website, go on the assessor's website, look on parcels, that's all based on a GIS system. Graphic information system.
Geographic information.
Graphic.
There you go, yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I
you
ju-
know, we use the software for managing data and be able to graphically include a lot of the data.
Same systems used for like property lines, right? It gets it down to a pinpoint location. Same thing for your water lines or valves. It would show you within just a couple feet of where things are supposed to be,
Yes.
as opposed to a guess.
So the goal of this thing, of this program that you're talking about, the goal is to what? To make it easier on everybody?
Yeah, the goal is to utilize it for your preventive maintenance program and have a real-time feature on where your water lines, hydrants, valves, and sampling stations are all located. So that way the guys know all they, instead of going out and utilizing these maps that may or may not be accurate, they can get on their line on their phones and find out where everything's at, or an iPad.
But I don't
Then
think it's so much to make things easier. It's just gonna help obviously with keeping up with our maintenance,
Yeah.
doing work orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for us to build out a proper preventive maintenance program, we need to have some sort of base or system that you guys have to utilize. We can't go and build out a maintenance program on paper. Those days are way behind us. Or trying to build it out in like Outlook. Like back in the day, I used to build it in my Outlook in my emails for reminders before we started getting all these different types of maintenance programs out there. It is, like I said, you're not long term committed to this. If you pass or approve this, let us show you what it's capable of, and then you guys can make a decision 1 year from now if you want to move forward with it. But I promise you, when we get everything uploaded, I mean, we're going to be uploading pictures, we're going to be uploading O&M manuals into this system, so everything is going, all your maintenance, anything that has to do with your system will be all single sourced and have access to it. Because right now you have manuals scattered everywhere. We're constantly trying to find things. Where this here will centralize all your data. You can utilize it for customer service. You can utilize it for all kinds of different things. And the biggest thing is you got to build it out. Obviously build it out for Lorenzo and his team, but you got to build it out for the future. You got to build it out for that transition. Like I said, let's say Lorenzo wins Lotto in a year. The next guy comes in. You don't want him starting all over again. You want to be able to transition him into something that's already there, that's already built out for him. Then that individual can learn how to use the system, and then add any items in the future that can help the next guy that he replaces or replaces him.
Two quick questions, Jay. Is this just for the water system or is it for the sewer system too?
It could be used for the sewer system also. Absolutely. We just completed the city of Bingen, Washington, and that was just for the sewer side. Now there we troubleshot just the plant material, the plant grounds themselves, because the actual collection system was already GIS'd in. So we were able to get the files from the engineering firm and upload them into Ziptility. We're here at Mapton. That is not the case. You're going to have to do some conversion on CAD, or we go out and we tremble in each of the locations.
Okay, this is more for the people that are certified, right? Not just anybody can anybody just get on the computer and pop up this information?
Oh yeah, anybody. I mean, whoever you guys want to give access to. Is it going to be for the general public? No, it could be. It's up to the city council who you want to have access to the system.
Okay.
So I mean, right now I would think if it's me right now, I would just have your Joe, Lorenzo, and possibly the wastewater operator, city clerk, and mayor until we get everything built out. And then from there, you guys decide who you want to have access to. But no, you can use this for anything other than water systems. Obviously, wastewater. You can use it for roads. If you want to, make an asset like a stop sign. You can make an asset stop sign. And you can pinpoint all your stop signs in town. So no, it can be utilized more than just water.
Okay, Jay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a question? in regards to that, is there a backup system in case it crashes?
It's all cloud based. So if the clouds go, if the internet goes down there, we're all, hate to say it, we're all screwed.
So that's what I was saying. That's what I was asking.
We'll be more worried about how,
Easier.
how do we access our bank accounts, not where a stop sign is located. That ever took place.
No, is there a backup in case,
There's a glitch in the system.
Yeah. So what we'll end up doing after we get everything built out, what we'll end up doing is we'll get a hold of Ziptility and we'll download the files, and you guys can keep it on whatever, a disk or something, as a backup. So in case something does go wrong, we don't have to start all over again.
Yeah, you still would want to do it.
Yeah, we'll get a backup made for you and have it kept on site. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jay. We're gonna be moving on to item C, discussion of ordinance 2026-1207, an ordinance of the city of Mapleton, Washington, adopting a mayoral stipend, establishing the duration of the mayoral stipend, and establishing an effective date.
Excuse me, I hate the Madam Mayor.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Do you need me anymore?
I don't. Actually, if we could talk, if you could say just for the fire hydrant. that'd be great.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. I think, yeah.
Just bypass everything first, and then he can go ahead and talk about that right now. And then we can just go back to the other.
Just have one more before it. Right?
Mhm.
We just have the one we're on right now, and then these next, that was next. Okay.
Can you talk on that, Jake, real quick?
Are we talking about the 3 hydrants that are currently out of
Yeah.
service?
Yeah.
Yes. So currently you have 3 hydrants that are out of service. We got quotes from quotes from a local vendor here in Pasco for a cost on replacing them. You do have 2 hydrants located at the wastewater treatment facility. We have not had a chance to see if they're operational or not. Talking with Lorenzo and Joe, they believe that they are. So we may or may not have to buy all 3 hydrants. Again, I haven't had a chance to speak with Joe and his capabilities on what if they can or cannot replace a hydrant. I don't know if they've done that type of work before. If they have not, then we'll go out and get competitive bids on getting those fire hydrants replaced. But we need to verify the valves and everything else that go to those hydrants are operational prior to anybody coming on site to do the replacement. We can't replace a hydrant if the shutoff valve isn't working correctly. But I believe the hydrants, I know there's one located near the school. I believe the elementary school. And then there's one south of town. Oh, and I don't know where the other location is on the other one.
It was south of town, one right here by the high school.
Yep. So what we can do is if you guys are looking for, well, I guess, I don't know what the process is. But if you guys go ahead and give us the approval, we'll go out and start getting bids and getting those costs for you.
Isn't that something the fire department can look into?
I was just gonna say that. If they deal with that.
Just to use them, that's it.
They go
That's
out
all
there
you-
to shut them
That's all you have to
on.
do, we just use the hydrants?
Yeah, I don't think it's folks, in any community that I've ever worked in, it's up to the city to replace fire hydrants. It's your responsibility to provide the water flow for the fire department. It's never been. Now the fire department depends on the community, does come out and do some flow testing to verify what the hydrants are rated at for obviously insurance reasons and making sure that there is a proper flow for firefighting. But typically and again, I haven't reviewed your ordinances, but typically it's the community or the city's responsibility to maintain the hydrants and distribution system.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Jake.
You're welcome. Just let me know where you guys want to do here. Then I'll work with Lorenzo and Joe and we'll get you the proper costs on getting these installed.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now we'll go back to item C, the discussion of the ordinance 2026-1207.
What's the stipend right now?
1,000.
Can I just jump in?
Yeah.
On this? So it's been my understanding that the council adopted a mayoral stipend at the beginning of this new term that is $1,000. Is that correct?
Yes,
So there is
Well,
a constitutional provision that is interpreted to mean that you cannot reduce the mayor's salary during a term. You can adopt an ordinance to reduce, but it would not take effect until the next term. You can change, under state law, you can change the mayor's salary or stipend at any point, but only if it's an increase. The Constitution of Washington State prohibits reductions midterm, even for the mayor. So if you've already set it at 1,000, you can increase it while the current mayor is serving, but you cannot decrease it.
if I'm not mistaken, when we wrote that up, and when we talked about that, it was stipulated that we can change it at any given time. And if I'm not mistaken, even Drew told us that. That's why we wrote it up the way we did.
You can
If-
change it at any
if we would've-
time, but
if we
you're
would've known
limited.
that, We would have wrote it up differently.
And I
And
wasn't,
we were all in agreement with that.
the mayor can agree, because you can change it any time. It's just when it takes effect. And you can change it any time to increase it, but you can't change it any time to decrease it. Now, I will say, I think the Constitution isn't as clear as some other authorities do. It says officers, and I've debated whether the mayor counts as an officer, but MRSC and other attorneys take the position that that includes mayor. I think that should be elected official, which means the state statute would allow for a change at any time. I think treading conservatively is to follow the Constitution, because you don't want to be the test case.
Well, I wish we would have been told that before.
I don't know that it's worth $300 a month to really be all that concerned about it.
Well, that's through your eyes, Julie. That's not through our eyes. We're here trying to make cuts wherever we can to save money. And from what we were told, that we went upon it the right way. And that we could change it at any given time, whether it was up or down. And now you're telling us that we can't do anything.
You can change it to be up, and you can change
Well,
it to
yeah,
be
but-
down for the next term. You can change it at any time. It just won't take effect to this sitting mayor. So if this mayor were to, say, resign midterm, any change you make now would apply to the new person that takes the position.
Well, I
And I
wish
don't
somebody would
know
explain
how,
those
if that
things.
wasn't fully explained, because the state law does say you can make changes anytime, but you've got to remember this, there's this constitutional caveat about reductions.
We went through that with Rachel.
No.
And we couldn't go from the land. So it's pretty locked in when.
Yeah, but when we talked about this, we were all in agreement. That if we want to change it, we can change it. So if the rest of the council members view that we can't, you guys should have said something then, that way we could have decided on what we're really gonna pay, just in case we're gonna change it at any given time in the future. And nobody mentioned it. So now we're stuck.
I just remember with Rachel, we couldn't.
That's what I'm saying, but now we're stuck we're stuck with Rachel. Same thing. Well, you might as well take that one off the list as far as cutbacks.
Thank you.
And we've been pushing for this for 3 months. And still nothing. That's what I'm saying, Julie. I wish that would have been explained to us properly instead of the way it was. Because the way I understood it, that we could change it at any given time, whether it was bringing the price down or taking it up. Our agreement, or as far as I thought that we all agreed on, was that more than likely it would go down before it went up. And now it can't go nowhere.
Yeah, and like I said, I wasn't at that meeting where it was discussed with you. I do know that this was a reduction from what, that a salary had to be set, and this was a reduction from what Mayor Ruelas was receiving. And so I think our thought was this was starting low, and that you could make changes anytime to increase it if you thought it was worth paying along the lines that Mayor Ruelas was receiving. You could make that change at any point, but I was under the impression that this was kind of starting at a minimum and likely wouldn't be discussed as going down, but could potentially be discussed as going up. But again, I wasn't there when it was actually explained because, like I said, it can be changed anytime. It's just depending on the nature of the changes when it will take effect to the seated officer. So an increase could take effect immediately because the mayor doesn't vote their salary, but a decrease would be limited to when there's a turnover in the position.
Okay, we were under the impression that we could. According to the legal advice that we were given. We were even told that if we're gonna change it, all we gotta do is amend the ordinance and rewrite it. That's what we were told. That's what I remember being told. But evidently not, so I guess it is what it is. We leave it where it's at, I guess. Can't do anything about it.
We will be moving on to item E, discussion on the amendment of ordinance 2023-1183, establishing Mountain City Hall hours.
We talked about that because we have ordinance read, that was a discussion that, because our ordinance doesn't read the hours they're doing right now. It reads the old hours, I believe. Am I right?
I believe you guys wanted to talk about this because of item F, which is the reduction of staff hours. So that ties into
But
the
we're
city
on item E.
hours. Right.
She says it's related to the staff hours, that if we wanted to, we talked about lowering, not doing Friday. Remember when we discussed all that? We were talking about closing Friday and different avenues. Cutting hours.
I mean, this was put on,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
this was put on here because council members wanted to discuss this, so.
We've discussed this already.
Mhm.
We've been wanting to take action on it for the last 2.5 months, and we still haven't. Cause it's been getting pushed over and pushed over and pushed over. And now we're here. And if we're gonna do anything,
Yeah.
we need to take action, because we can't drag it on longer and longer. I mean, it's already been 2.5 months. You know,
Can
it's been on the agenda numerous of times.
Can I ask
And
a
then it's
question?
Go ahead.
I don't have the ordinances in front of me or the comparison of what you're trying to do. Would the proposed change result in changes to work schedules of city employees, or would it just change the hours that City Hall is open to the public?
It would change one employee and the other two staying the same, I believe.
Because, and maybe the reason that this has drug on is because any changes that will affect a union employee in their work schedule would need to be negotiated with the union. We may have the right to do it, but we have to negotiate the impact of the change to the union, or with the union. And so I don't know if that process has been started by saying, reaching out to the union and saying, hey, the city council is looking at changing these hours, this will affect this one employee. You know, let's talk about your concerns to what this will do to their schedule. And it's not a hard conversation. It's just
So
a
we had
piece.
one, it wasn't Rick, this gentleman, the other one was here during our first discussion of this. And he gave us some insight into different things. I believe. You guys believe it, when the other gentleman was here and talked to us. From the union thing. Yeah.
There is an ordinance as far as the staff's hours. In that ordinance, if I'm not mistaken, it's from 9 to 5. With an hour for lunch, but the
Do-
doors close at 5, they don't close at 4:30 the way it is right now.
Ruben, sorry, can we go into our regular meeting and then we'll continue with this?
That's why we should have left it the way it is, because just look at, we end up talking about, we don't finish everything,
Mhm.
and then it just gets dragged on again,
No, it's not gonna get dragged on, hold on.
but it has in the past.
So, good evening, I called this,
I need to end this one.
sorry,
Julie will go into the second meeting
we're moving on to our regular.
Okay.
on the regular council meeting.
Do we have a copy of the ordinance